No.
What were your thoughts on the lead generation? And the
I only had 2, and I was working on trying to put the third one in, and my internet was not working right.
Yeah. What were your 2?
And next month, I have plans, September, to do that, is it Santuck that has that market?
The flea market.
I have a friend that already has a booth, and she has a table that I can use that's next to her booth. And so I'm gonna set up there and do like one of the ladies suggested, doing a raffle thing where you get the names and number and email addresses. So that's what I'm working on for next month.
Oh, I love that. I have been saying to our agents, especially the ones up in Elmore County, I'm like, if you guys are not doing Santa or flea market Saturdays, you're missing out, because that's where everybody's at. That's where they want to, people are wanting to get out and talk. And I mean, I think that this is a great opportunity, especially when you're looking at having those face-to-face conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be pretty much an easy one to let you get comfortable with it.
Right.
Hello, Miss Tiffany. Maybe her audio has not hooked up. Okay. So, but today we're going to talk about, hey, you want to give us, your ideas and things from last session? Deanna said she's going to work on prospecting by going to local flea markets and setting up a booth. And I think that's a great idea, and doing like a drawing or a giveaway or something.
That's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
To get new people.
Anything you've started to implement since the last time we talked about prospecting?
The only thing that I've started so far is just making sure that I just talk to somebody new wherever I go. So just trying to make sure I have the conversation.
Yes. And I know we're kind of rapid fire Friday to Monday going through this stuff, but I want to make sure that there's implementation. So whether it's a big event or just something intentional, like when you're out and about, just making sure that we're doing that. That's only going to make us better. So whether it's something large or something small, if it's impactful to your business, is important. All right. So we're not going to go through the ground rules. We talked about our ahas. Okay. So where you are today, where are you with your lead generation efforts? Get into the habit of taking accountability for your actions and your progress. Take the time to share with your peers any ahas or challenges as we go through the next steps. Okay, so list, this is where you have your paperwork, your notebook down. Hold on, I'm gonna let somebody in. Gerald. Let me let him get in, guys, so I can go ahead and announce it while he's in here with us. Hey, Gerald.
Good afternoon.
We're about to do an activity. Okay, so write down the lead generation activities you completed in the last 24 hours. What were your ahas from that activity? What were your challenges? And what are you going to do different in the next 24 hours? Just take the time to think about that. You just always want to make sure that you're reflecting and incorporating, implementing what we talk about. So since yesterday was Sunday, I would maybe even just say over the weekend since we last spoke. All right. Next, I have a little story here, but not to read the story. But I really like this this quote here at the bottom of this teacher's manual. It says, the key to success is to be alert, proactive, and empowered, to have an ongoing, dedicated lead generation program. Remember that this business is about you, the agent, promoting what you do on a relentless level. Now we're going to look at how you can maximize your lead generation by combining that prospecting with purposeful and consistent marketing. Relentless. Be relentless about your lead generation. That really just stuck out to me. Okay, So if you want to think about lead generation a little bit like this, and this is kind of funny because I've never taken this class, but my coach this year, she said, Katie, you're just making bread. You're baking bread. So everything you do is with the outcome of success. So every little activity is going to have impact. So you're not going to make bread without certain things, right? So you're going to need flour, yeast, water, and to put it in the oven. Well, if you want to look at lead generation, your mets and haven't mets, that's your flour. Your prospecting and marketing is your yeast that enhances that. And then your habit is sticking it in the oven. That's going to equal you having success. I don't know why, and maybe you guys are like, this is so simple, but it really changed the way I thought about lead generation activities. Because I don't know if you're like me and you just want to do something and then see instant results, but that's not how you make bread, right? So it's a process, and you have to, what are those sourdough starter kits, or what is it, like friendship bread, or what was it people were doing in the Ziploc bags? Has anybody done that? Where it has to, like, the yeast has to activate for 7 days, and then I don't remember, but it was like a whole thing that you couldn't just, make bread. And so I think that this was a good illustration. Can't find my mouse. There we go. To help us when we're thinking about lead generation. All right, so what is marketing? We talked about prospecting. Prospecting is that active, proactive form of lead generation. Marketing is more passive. It's more of an attractant and not necessarily an aggressor, right? It just should attract and magnify what you're doing. There are some disadvantages, though, to marketing. So it can be more expensive, it can be less personable or memorable, and it doesn't have immediate results. Now, the advantages are there's an efficient use of time, and you can reach a larger audience, especially of those unmets. What are some forms of marketing you guys can think of?
Social media.
Social media, yep, definitely.
I wanted to say things like, even though we consider like door knocking and all that prospecting, but it also can be a form of marketing as well.
When you leave that piece of content, that could be that marketing part. Direct mailers, mass email, your websites, your app, the use of your app, billboards, signs, for sale signs. That's a huge marketing tip. Radio ads, television ads, magazine ads, newspaper. People don't do those so much anymore. It used to be a big deal when you had a newspaper ad, but now more. It's very digitally based, which means it can be a lot less expensive. Especially with the tools and resources that we have, using the command and using the Facebook and using the designs. It's all templated for us just to go with it. So what are some benefits of marketing?
You can establish yourself as a realtor, like people know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, it enhances your brand. So branding is very important this day and age, and it always can be a good thing to have supplemental. So when you're prospecting, you're verbally communicating with people and having a conversation about your unique value proposition. Your marketing is going to enhance that and provide validity, right? That's why we market a lot of testimonials, because what's better than me saying I'm great? When you say I'm great, right? So that's why it's really important to have that supplemental, and it's why it is a puzzle piece that goes together. And while you're on the road to 36 transactions a year, the role of marketing is to feed and support your relationships that you build while prospecting. So, truth, the role of marketing during your growth phase is to supplement your prospecting. So at every stage in your business life, it's best to be consistent, and that comes from prospecting and marketing. And when you're prospecting based, you'll improve your results when you're marketing enhanced. Prospecting and marketing are powerful lead generation activities, but neither are so powerful alone. They have to go together. And the two should be synergistic. Word of the day, if y'all write that down, synergistic. Marketing gives you a reason to call. It gives you a reason to prospect people. So if you have something you're going to hand out or give out, that marketing helps. If you're doing a giveaway per se, and you have a flyer or you have a promotional item that has gone out ahead of time, that's your marketing. And then you come behind it with what you're going to do. So like Deanna, you're talking about doing a giveaway at the flea market this weekend. If I were you, I would go ahead and put something out saying, I'm going to do a drawing here at Santuck, come by my booth or whatever that is, and push that out ahead of time. That's your marketing. Then when you're at the booth having those conversations, that's your prospecting, right? So it goes hand in hand. It provides a touch that's going to set you apart and make you memorable after you've prospected. So say you sent out a mailer to a neighborhood that you're farming, you go and door knock in that neighborhood. What are you going to do after that? One, you're going to follow up with anybody you had a one-to-one conversation with. And two, you want to send out something again because you want to solidify that relationship. Steady and consistent marketing helps you gain and retain mind share. It's very important, that mind share. All right, so what are the benefits? Hi, this is Katie. Did you receive the market report I sent to you? Do you have any questions about the market that I could answer for you? If you sent somebody a piece of material and you've done that mailer, you want to follow up with a call just like that, right? If you've given somebody, a CMA perhaps, you want to follow back up and say, did you have any questions? That's a reason to call somebody. And marketing provides the touch. It's going to set you apart. So this is an example of a thank you note that you're going to give out after you have the conversation. In Ignite, we talk about doing the thank you notes, the thank you message. You want to have that touch after the conversation to say, thank you for speaking with me, and I'm here anytime you have any real estate questions, okay? When you follow up with your prospecting with thank you cards, invitations, or giveaways, it reinforces your mind share. Also, you want to remember not to overspend when you're doing things like this. If you want to do a large giveaway, it's always best to try to share that cost with a lender, or you can pair up with another agent and y'all team up together and do it. But to do it with a vendor as well, it really helps set off some of the costs if you want to do something really nice. So just some ideas. So it's a numbers game, and this is from Direct Marketing Association. And again, this was back in 2015. So 12.95% reminds us the value of prospecting. So look at this, average response rates by media. And that's probably increased now due to COVID because more and more people are at home and taking calls. What are your ahas from this?
I think I didn't know that direct mail was as big of a marketing piece. I didn't know it was that big.
Well, and the thing too with the direct mailers, whether it's this says letter size, oversize, or postcard, still it's at the 3% mark. It means they're going to take it from their mailbox, and very rarely, what does somebody do with things from their mailbox? If you're my husband, you have to take it inside the house and put it on at least 4 different surfaces.
Yeah, that's true.
But do you typically take it from the mailbox and chunk it?
Nope.
Not typically.
Right.
And so what we do know too is the older, more established neighborhoods, what are they going to do? Are they going to be looking for information and professionals on social media?
Not as much.
No, they're more likely to take, if it's a letter, open it and read it.
Mm-hmm.
And heck, people are bored at home right now, so they're probably more likely than ever to do something like that. So a letter or a postcard at least will live and have a lifespan more so than just one thing or the other. And that's why it's important you have multiple. And when we're talking about the 36 touch, there's multiple touches so you can hit every personality and every kind of person that's going to be receiving it. That way you open up your net to more. So these numbers really tell us we have a lot of room to improve. Don't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to sharpen our skills and build our daily lead generation habit. All right, so let's talk about some marketing myths. Myth 1, I only need to prospect or market to be successful. And what we know is successful lead generation is a combination of both prospecting and marketing. You don't need to do one and not the other. You want to be well-rounded. Myth 2, the purpose of prospecting and marketing is to get appointments. So that's also false. The purpose of prospecting and marketing is to get appointments and grow your database. The more people that know your name and that you have in your database, the more people you can touch. It's just going to increase and increase. Myth number 3, any marketing I do builds mindshare. That's not necessarily true. I think there's a lot of studies right now based on the use of social media and things like that, that honestly for someone to pay attention to your marketing on social media and your posting, you're going to have to post up to 4 times a day for them to really think about like doing something with what they saw. And you have to have creative posts that they're going to slow down, because think about how you scroll. Don't you just sit here and do this? You've got to have somebody pause for the calls and look at what you wrote and click on something. And so it's very important that you, think about this when you're doing your marketing. So we want to define your brand. So branding comes through your unique value proposition or your unique selling proposition. And it's going to deliver on your value proposition and your customer service. So your branding needs to be memorable. It builds your reputation, and everything can be part of your brand. And there's no one right brand. So what are some things that can be part of your brand? So your logo, right? Whatever your
Yeah.
logo is, if you have your own individual logo or if you have KW Montgomery logo, that's your brand.
Slogan.
Your what?
Slogan.
Your slogan, that's right. Your signs, how you answer the phone, your level of service and efficiency, your accessibility, the area that you work in, how you stage an open house or a listing, your knowledge of the area, your community involvement. Jenny hit on that huge, didn't she? Right? So that's part of their whole brand, is people in the community know them. The quality of your marketing materials, the frequency of your marketing, your car, the way you dress, your listing presentation or buyer consultation, all that is under your branding. So your brand is your style and your target audience together and your unique value proposition. So if you look at your unique value proposition and your style, that's going to help you with your target audience. Like who do you want to be targeting? And that's going to help you with your brand. So your unique selling proposition or your unique value proposition is unique. It needs to be memorable. It needs to be persuasive, and a statement that expresses the key value you bring to your customers. Is your strongest value proposition articulated to highlight your uniqueness? And we talked about that in Ignite, that it needs to be your elevator speech. If I walk up to you in the grocery store, Tiffany, and I ask you, can you help me with real estate? Why should I pick you? You should be able to what? Answer it, right? Deanna, Gerald, Malin, same thing. Like if I say, why should I choose you as a realtor? You need to have that answer ready. And if you don't, do it today. Because what do we talk about? Preparing for the opportunity versus waiting on the opportunity and then getting prepared. If you wait on the opportunity, you're going to fumble. But if you're prepared, you're going to be ready to go. So we talk a lot about that unique selling proposition or value proposition. So you want to continue to tell people about yourself outside of real estate. I just want to highlight that too. When I became a real estate agent, I was like, oh, well, nobody wants to know about me. But that's not true, because people do want to work with you. And each person on this call has a unique history that led them to real estate. I don't just want to work with somebody, nor does the consumer study show that just says they've sold hundreds of homes. They want to work with you because you're a professional, because of who you are, and because you're knowledgeable and an expert in real estate. It does not mean that you have had to sell real estate for 20 years. Just remember that. Okay, so we want to do an exercise. Like I told you guys, if you don't know your value proposition, now's the time to create that, and now's the time to refine it. If you have not been working on it recently, this is your homework. Work on your unique selling proposition or your value proposition, and share that with somebody. So I think everybody maybe in coaching that this needs to be something that you send to Vicki and say, here is my unique value proposition. Let me know what you think. And I know that's something that we also did in Ignite as well. So you guys should be ready to go with that.
Is there a difference, Katie, between your selling proposition and value proposition?
They just changed the term. They just used to use selling proposition, which is, how to sell yourself. So I like value proposition a little bit better, but I noticed they had the USP throughout here, so I was interchanging the two. Okay. So analyze your style. There's a study with Guerrilla Marketing that said, which I know this has increased, Americans are bombarded with around 2,700 advertisement and marketing messages every day. And I think that's like way low for at this point, if you really think about it. That's why, in addition to branding yourself as a professional, you also need to stand out and have something that has personality. And then think about things that may or may not have anything to do with your business, but that make you memorable. So here's a couple of little examples. Busy Blondes, their top agents from Los Angeles, have leveraged the element of their founder's personal style to create a fun, memorable brand. Bruce Hardy combines his Australian background, his logo is a kangaroo, with something that sets him apart in the eyes of the public with down-to-earth professionalism and appeals to his target market. So he builds clearly on the fact that he's from Australia. Sharon Keiko is a high-producing agent from Plano, Texas, who brands herself as the builder's wife to capitalize on her connection to the construction industry. So the style that you develop should take into account your target demographic expects, wants, and especially what makes you positively memorable. You note that it says positively memorable because sometimes people can go too far the other way in the negative. Okay, so there is an exercise here, and I know you guys don't have this worksheet. Of course, you can get it from MyKW, but I think that we can break it down pretty quickly for those of you taking notes. So the idea is to look at your style and do a style analysis for your brand. So you want to do a brainstorm. Brainstorm your personal style and your customers' demographics to refine what sort of brand you want. So is your style formal, business casual, informal, or other? Are you conservative, chic, flamboyant, bohemian, or other? That's for your style or any other, thing that you already have. Maybe you're lined up. Are your clients luxury, middle class, working class, combination, or other? Retirees, families, college grads, combination, or other? Younger, middle-aged, or older? And then you want to take a minute to describe how you are unique or memorable. Why are you unique? Write down, I am unique because. Is it your background, your education, your hobbies, your appearance, or your personal connections? And then at the bottom here, it has, in reference to Words That Sell by Richard Bayan, is a list of words that customers respond positively. So here are a few to consider when positioning yourself in your business. Willing, accurate, aggressive, articulate, dedicated, energetic, experienced, hardworking, highly motivated, innovative, multi-talented, organized, honest, patient, prepared, qualified, resourceful, skilled, polished, successful, tenacious, and versatile. So I think any of those, I think it's important as you're looking at your unique value proposition, who is my target audience and who am I and how can I brand myself to connect better? And you do want to be extremely articulate when you're doing that, because if sometimes you have a handful of minutes with somebody, that could decide whether they want to give you business or refer you business. And so it's important that you have that ready to go. So your brand identity statement would be your core business identity, and it develops your lead generation action plan. So if part of your style and your brand is that I give back to the community, you want to make sure that your lead generation activities are what? Centered around giving back to the community. Whether that's through, like Jenny was talking about, per closing, going back to a local charity, or doing events that give back to local charities, or connecting with and sponsoring local charities, that sort of thing. You want to make sure that if you say you're, community minded, that your actions also incorporate that, right? So you want to create your brand identity statement, and you will create that from your unique value proposition. Okay. Marketing your brand is a big part of the work that you do to establish your reputation in the community. It attracts sellers. It tends to attract sellers more than buyers. The other main kind of marketing you will do is marketing your listing, is about your inventory more than your company, and it tends to attract buyers. So we want to make sure, as you're looking at what kind of audience is, what kind of customers do you want? If you say, I can help you buy a home, who's going to call you? If you say, I can help sell your home, who's going to call you?
Sellers.
Right. So what we need to do is be saying what? I can help you buy and sell.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to make sure that your message out there is not so heavy one way or another, especially if you're in a seller's market. What do you want? More buyers or sellers?
More sellers.
So just make sure that your marketing is matching that. Of course, we're going to take any business, but what you focus on expands. And so what you put out there, a lot of the agents in our area, you can look at their numbers and say, are you buyer or seller? And they go, well, buyer. Well, what is your marketing? What are you marketing for? Are you marketing to help people become homeowners? Are you marketing that you're a listing specialist? What are you attracting? So just be careful that you understand what you're putting out, and that's what you're going to be getting. And if you change that message, you should be able to change what you're getting. So there's a crossover in marketing, and the card containing your listings help build your reputation as the market leader, while your newsletter or your emailer or anything like that, it includes information and pictures about yourself and current listings. Okay, so 6 methods for marketing your brand. Community involvement, sponsorships, charities, community events, mail outs, those can be newsletters, just listeds or solds, special events, CMAs, promotional items, or a community calendar. I skipped media, TV, radio, news articles, print ads, social media. Then we did the mail outs, signs, yards and directional signs, benches, billboards, grocery carts, moving vans, personal vehicles. And automated marketing, that can be the voicemail. We talked about the slide aisle last time. Email or video email. There's a thing called BombBomb. If you guys get Alia's email videos, she does like a 1-minute clip that comes out, and she's using BombBomb. And then the internet. So you have your website, any free online services, and your app. So those are all ways that you are marketing. So the big 3 marketing principles is to research your new marketing methods in your area. Who already is using the method you want to use? What do you like about their marketing? What do you not like? What doesn't work? And how can you set yourself apart? You can talk to me, your team leader, or Vicki, your coach, and ask about the method that you're thinking of using and how much it should cost, any regulations or requirements you should know about. And you always want to lead with revenue. So don't spend money that you don't have on glitzy marketing. You want to prospect while your income is small and then add marketing components as your income grows, making sure you have enough money to complete the entire marketing plan before you begin. Incomplete plans are typically a waste of money. So the community involvement, there's a benefit by helping others, and you meet terrific prospects. There's a lot of good referrals that come from community involvement. I lost my place, page 32. Okay. All right. There's a checklist for community events. There's different things that you can do to promote when you're doing community events. And that's some of the ideas. When you have sponsors connected with you, you want to thank them. Media advertising. So working with popular media. So when you're looking at creating something, you want to look at, does the quality of the material make me look like I'm worth the fee I charge? That's a good one. If you are not creative, you may want to look into outsourcing the creation of your material, but we have designs now, and so that looks really good if you use any of that. Just be sure if you're doing the mailers or mail out that you're using a quality, when you go get those things printed, if you're not doing the direct, that it's on quality materials, okay? And if it's a quality printer, if you're printing them at home and it has like the print lines across it because the toner's out, that's not really a good look, and I don't necessarily feel like I should pay you the full fee if I use you. Okay, so just remember that you want to appear a professional at all times. You want to be consistent using the same standard elements of marketing in all your pieces. If you have a logo or slogan, it needs to be on everything, making sure that you have that consistency. Placement is important. The bigger your ad, the better. But if you don't have the budget to do a double page or full page ad, you can make sure that it's still on there and the consumer will see it. So if you're doing on a page, like a paper, to make sure it's near the bottom right corner, because that's where somebody's going to turn the page and they're going to have to look. So that's pretty clever. The IVR system, again, this is like internet. Now we have KWLS. We've got all of the things that pushes it out to the internet, so we don't need to worry about that. But just making sure what it's saying here is if you have a phone number that is, say, like a Google number or something like that, that it's on all of your marketing. That if you don't want people calling your personal number, that everything is consistent. Or say you push something out, making sure that it's your direct line, not necessarily the brokerage number that someone's calling. So everything comes to you. You want to track your response rate. So when you're doing the marketing, look at it. And now we have command campaigns, and in there it shows the impressions, it shows the clicks, it shows how many people were added to your database. So making sure that you know that, where the impressions are. Mail outs. So some tips here: include an offer response in every piece. You can hand deliver some. That's when you're doing your prospecting, door knocking. That's a really good idea. And then follow up with that. Did you receive my piece of mail? If you get people's emails from them, do a direct mail and then an email to follow up. You want to leverage seasons and events for mail outs. So if there's a big holiday coming up, plan accordingly and send something out for that. You want to proof your materials, of course, that goes without saying. Using signs that are only in good repair. I can't tell you, you guys probably see them too. You go to a listing or showing and the sign looks like it has beat to Hades and back. So making sure that all the signage you use is in good repair condition, everything's clear and looks good. and that your message matches your context. So all of your signs must be legible. So automated marketing, it's very easy to do. Right now, if I had any new listings, I promise you they would be going out to all the realtors and to my whole database and anybody I could tell, because that is where the power is right now, is having listings. So you want to make sure that that's going out as much as possible. And that's another reason to have listings and to be listing focused, is because it gives you another thing to say to somebody, is that, have you seen this listing? You know, inventory is very low right now. I want to make sure that you know about it. And that's another way to put your name out there. So all agents need a website. We have one in Command. Make sure that it says and does and looks the way you want it to look. Your approach should evolve with technology. So making sure that you're embracing technology, because the reason we have a lot of technology is because that's what the consumer is using right now. So making sure that you understand it, you have the tools to use, and that you're using them. Technology can offer cheap marketing. We see that right now with Command campaigns and Facebook and Instagram, social media, Google Ads. Very inexpensive right now and looks very professional. You want to remember when you're marketing yourself that you have to have content that the public wants, and you have to make your sites and content findable. So push it out there where people can see it. They should not have to hunt for things. Okay, here are some how home buyers find their homes. Print ad 1%, seller 3%, home builder 5%, neighbor, relative, or friend 6%, yard sign, open house 9%, real estate agent 33%, website 43%. What are your ahas from reading this?
Connect with other agents and use the website.
Yeah, making sure that what you have out there is up to date and that you're using. If you could just really say, you know, internet could be, this could also be the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just internet in general these days. And so making sure that that's part of what you're doing. And just like I said, hey, if I had a listing right now, I'd be mailing it out to the entire MLS, MailChimp, every time I had one. And you'll see that's what some of these companies and agents are doing. Why do you think they're doing that?
To get the attention of other agents as well.
Yeah, because odds are, I mean, you may end up selling some of the listings you have, but overall, statistically, someone else is going to bring the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So getting that out there and letting people know that you have a listing is very important. When you're marketing your listing, you want to make sure that you're using a plan that balances your goals, right? So here's an example of a 14-step marketing plan for listings, okay? Staging and pricing, working on the CMA, any updates that need to happen before it gets listed. Although right now, I just stick the for sale sign in the yard. For sale sign, step 2, riders, any directional signs. 3, the box with the flyers, if that's something you do. Although these days it would be more like the QR code, which, have you seen those? They look amazing. You can get them on your listings. So, or you can get the rider. So check into that, making sure that that's there. Having materials in the house, and it says, you know, having a comment card or flyers, that's all good to have. But right now, what else do you need to have in your listing?
So that
COVID
again?
materials.
Oh, right.
So you need to have some of that, right? And if you don't have it, your seller has to have it. But if you're the professional saying, I'm going to help you list your home, I would be sure that I had that in a basket or something to make sure that my seller knew I valued their health and safety. Step 5, putting it in MLS. Step 6, creating a virtual tour. I would probably do that before I put it in MLS. Any house features that you do, you put that there. So if you had, you know, a caravan or this, that, and the other, Voice broadcast is what this says do, although we would be doing MailChimp. Open house, showings and doing that. Tracking your showings and collecting feedback. How many of you guys have been at a showing and before you walked out the door, the agent notified you and asked you how the showing went?
Yep. All the time.
That's a little annoying. I'm just going to say, give people a little bit of time, but that in saying that, don't forget. I think that's why agents do that so fast, like while you're in the property, is because they're afraid they're going to forget to send that follow-up. But we're professionals and we don't have to like do it like that, because I'm not going to give you honest feedback if my client is standing right next to me. We might not even have feedback at that point. So be sure though that you're looking at the reverse prospecting in MLS and seeing who's looking at your listings so that you can contact and communicate with them. Making sure you're doing your target marketing, you're doing weekly seller updates, property caravans, and any other creative marketing ideas you have. Listings properly marketed attract buyers. And so that too, once you have a listing, you want to attract buyers, right? Not just to sell that home, but to really capitalize on having the listing so that you can attract more business. So this says email out home brochures, network in the halls, not happening so much anymore. Hold realtor events. You could do a realtor luncheon or realtor pop by. Those are coming back. Participating in agent caravans. That doesn't happen so much anymore. And hold classes in your listings. That's really creative, and I've never seen that happen. You may not want to do that right now. Offer a higher commission split, so you could sacrifice yours. This is all not necessary at this time because we are at a seller's market, and so you really, if you list something and price it properly, you'll get multiple offers. Jimmy Ann was in Friday, and she said she listed something at like 9 on Thursday night, and by Friday she had 3 offers. So I keep hearing that over and over and over and over again. So if you have a listing and you are pricing it correctly, it should be flying out the door. That's why it's so important to have listings. It talks about IDX. We don't have to worry about all that because now we have above IDX permission. Making sure that you're marketing the property by putting the signs prominently out, keeping, having the lockbox on, using writers strategically. Like I said, you can buy some with the QR code. And then doing your flyers. So for buyers is typically what it is. And this is a good point. Don't disqualify your listing by giving too much information. You'll see the ads and things on the command groups. The ones that do the best don't give all the information. So you want to have a reason for someone to call you. So you want to put some highlight features, but not necessarily go, this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,500 square feet, blah, 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 which that's a really small house. But anyway, you go through the whole thing. They have no reason to call you. So give them a teaser, give them something appealing to look at, and then have them have a reason to call. So we're going to talk about this in the mastermind, which is the 36 touch, but the 8x8 and the 36 now touch and the 12 direct, they're foundational marketing plans, and you want to make sure that you understand the conversion. So if people that you've met, it's a 12-to-2 ratio. People you haven't met is a 50-to-1. Do you see now why prospecting is so important? Because once you've actually met somebody, you're going to have a lot more results, 12-to-2 versus 50-to-1. All right, so here is a calculation that you guys need to do based on the ratios to look at your marketing. So what is your total transaction goal? What is your, let me turn to this page, this might help us. Okay, so this is an example for 36 transactions, right? Mm-hmm. 3/4 of your deals will come from mets and 1/4 will come from haven't mets. So if you do 36 multiplied by 3/4, you get 30 deals. If you get 36 multiplied by 1/4, you get 6 deals from haven't met. When you multiply the 30 times 6, that's 180 mets. And then 6 times 50, that's 300 haven't mets. So total, how many do you need in your database to meet your goal based on this exercise? $180 plus 300. You need 480 in your database, with 180 being people that you've spoken to and prospected with or from your sphere, and 300 haven't met. So that you've needed to got their information somehow. Does this provide you guys with an aha at all?
Yeah.
For me, when I'm looking at my daily 10-4 and I'm looking at my success habits, that gives me something to get to. Because what was it, 10 a day? If I'm doing 10 a day, how long is it going to take me to get to my number? Not that long. If I'm not doing 10 a day, is it likely I'm going to hit my goal of contacts in my database to hit my goal of transactions? This is just data and science that's been studied over time. And this is from 2015, nothing has changed. Making sure that you're growing your database is one of the most important things you can do. All right, we talked about this already. Target your audience, develop your materials that appeal to them, be consistent and repetitive. Don't overthink what you're doing, but making sure that you have quantity, because it's quantity that brings quality, right? It's not about being perfect, but it's about getting out there and doing it. So the 8x8 is an intensive marketing and prospecting blitz. So it's for people that you just met. You want to touch them 8 times in 8 weeks, okay? In their SMART plans, there is a plan for that. So if you've got anybody on that you just met, all you gotta do is put them on that SMART plan and it'll go through, okay? The 33 touches, now the 36 touch, we know it actually takes more. So it's consistent and repetitive plan for the people that you've already met, and it gives you an edge over most agents because it gives you mind share with the people. The direct mail are for people you haven't met, and it's really more of a battle of patience. So you could do a farming area where you send out something once a month, and I would make it something different, but that you have an area that you're consistently mailing to, whether it's letters, CMAs, market stats, invitations, holiday calendars, community event lists. Every month you're sending something. So we talked about this with designs, making sure that everything is memorable and persuasive. It includes offer response. So learn more, call me now, set an appointment. It's coming from contribution. It emphasizes benefits, not features, and has consistent look and feel, and has an attractive professional look. So here is a little unique guy here. It's time for a reality check. This little chihuahua is supposed to stand out and make you, want to call them. This here is a little bit, to me, if I saw that somewhere, I'd be like, how do I read that? I prefer less is more. When you have something out there, you want somebody just to be quick, 10-second read. We talked about that in Ignite as well. Use testimonials. Those are always really good. So anybody you've already done business with, be sure to get a testimonial from them so that you can share that out. All right, so what are some ahas from today's conversation?
I think my aha is there's a lot more to marketing that I can do that I'm not doing.
Yeah. Well, it's about being well-rounded, and understanding that it's, I think a lot of us just want like one easy thing when really it's a lot of different consistent things that come together. And there's a lot of opportunity. And especially right now, I think as far as marketing goes, it's probably never been more inexpensive, at least for us in our company, to have professional looking content, to have inexpensive content, and to have a partnership with one of those social media that, I mean, the most well-known, evolved, whatever social media platform there ever was. So we have a great opportunity here.
Yes.
You want to make sure that if you're on the path to 36 transactions, you're going to spend most of your 3 hours prospecting. And your marketing activities are just going to supplement your prospecting. Okay? All right, so next time we get together, we're going to be talking about working with Mets. So I look forward to that. That will be Friday. Tomorrow, Ignite wrap up is at 9, and we have